Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you all for joining. I am Rhonda, the Pink Diva Studio on Instagram. And thank you all for taking out time out of your day to join me and a few of my sisters. We're coming to you today to kind of talk about weight loss and our weight loss stories, our relationship with food. And as I always say to anyone, I love good food, but good food does not love me. So I'm here with Doreen, the Diva of Curves, Texas. My niece, hey girl, Kaya, the thrifty redhead, and Shannon from Shangri-La Handmade. Did I say that right? I always like to say Shangri-La.
I'm here for
Kaya,
that
can you
too.
hear us okay? Kaya, can you hear us okay? Oh, you can't hear. I'm sorry. What? You're good to go on this end. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna let everyone kind of give you a little background on themselves. And Doreen, why don't you go ahead and do that for us?
Okay, now.
Hi, I'm Doreen, aka the Diva of Curve, Texas, and I am a plus size reseller as well as a plus size fashion entrepreneur.
Yay, Shannon.
All right, and I'm Shannon, Shangri-La Handmade, and I also resell. I do it at a Poshmark, but I started because of my handmade jewelry, accessories, and home decor. So thank you for having me.
Sure. Glad to have you, niece.
Hey everyone, I am Kaya, also known as Thrifty Redhead, and I am a reseller on multiple platforms: Poshmark, Macari, Depop, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Well, if you guys aren't following them, please do so. I have put their information in the description box. And follow me if you're not following me too, honey. Pink Diva Studio. So, look, ladies, I don't, you all are in the Healthy You group, which is on Instagram, which I do have 5 slots left. So, DM me if you'd like to join. If you're watching this replay later, definitely DM me at the Pink Diva Studio on Instagram to join our February challenge. And I'd love to have you. So, as I said earlier, y'all, I love good food, but good food doesn't love me. I mean, it's like sometimes I can smell food and feel my hips expand. I mean, it's just that crucial with me and food. So I don't know. I can't even. I just when I think about food and my relationship with food, I tend to think that about back when I was a kid. Because when you're a kid, you're just eating all this good food all around you. My parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all those people who used to cook all the time. I mean, all the time. There was always an excuse to have a party, always an excuse to have a meal. And, they use food as a reward. Oh, you made an A today. Well, let's go out to eat. Oh, you did that. Oh, you cleaned up. That's so cute. Here's a cupcake. Things of this nature. So, my relationship with food is like a reward process. So, I mean, what's your relationship with food, Kaya? Oh,
Had to unmute myself, sorry. So my relationship with food is basically wasn't easy growing up with my mom not being as healthy. So my family are like fried addicts. Like they would fry anything. And I grew up eating what my mom put in front of me. If I didn't eat all my vegetables, my mom didn't make me sit at the table to eat all the vegetables. We would eat fried everything. I'm drinking soda and juice, as a very young kid. And was really unhealthy, and she was brought up that way, and then my grandmother was brought up that way. So it's just like a family thing. Like if no one, teaches the right way of healthy eating, then it's just going to keep being passed on, at least until it got to me, because I was like, with my kids, that's a no. We're not doing all of that.
I hear you. I understand. What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of similar. So I kind of had the nurture and the nature not in my category. In that instance, I'm from, my mom's one of 12 kids, and they grew up with not a lot. And so they had to eat what they were served. And their habits weren't all that great. And then it's just also hard when you don't have a lot of money to try to really cook very healthfully, because a lot of the healthier foods take a lot of cooking, and also it's more expensive. And then, so when I was growing up, we did a lot, because I was raised by my mom. I was single parent family. And so we ate a lot of fast food, and we ate a lot of cereal, and we ate a lot of mac and cheese and top ramen and quick foods, things that were really fast. And so I'll say I didn't necessarily learn the best of habits. She tried her absolute best, for sure, to provide for us as healthfully as possible. And I fell in love with food. And so I'd say my relationship is not a healthy one. It's a bit of a hot mess. I love food. And it's not that I don't like to cook. I absolutely love cooking. Actually, I feel like sometimes that's even makes it tougher, because if I don't have, let's say, I don't have the candy and the cakes in my house, I'll just whip it up. I'll just make it. I know how to take ingredients and like put them together and like, do that thing that I wanted. And so, yeah, food is hard for me. So, having like a mechanism in terms of how to like manage that successfully, that's one of the reasons I'm absolutely loving your group. It's been wonderful.
Oh, great. I'm glad to hear that. Doreen?
Yep.
Well, I think very similar to everyone here. A lot of my relationship with food has been passed down from my family, setting the foundation and the tone. And so my family was kind of both. I had my grandmother who practiced a lot of healthy eating, who was very strict on us, especially me, about eating, because she did not want us to be obese. And then I had my mom who was very kind of laxy-daisy regarding it. So I received both. And in return, I was one of those kids who I used food as my emotional support. And so if I was happy, I'm eating. If I'm sad, I'm eating. And so for me, that's how I kind of always used food. So I think that's what really led to my abuse of food, is if I'm, like I said, I'm going through anything in my life as far as emotional, I would simply rely on that. And so that's something that I'm working through even as an adult.
Right, right. I understand. I understand that, because I think sometimes, when you're younger, we don't know anything about metabolism and, all these things. Well, now I'm a little older than y'all, so I'm gonna say I didn't know anything about that. And for me, it was just a skip doo dah bippity boo kind of time when I could eat or have sweets. Or my mom used to take to the grocery store every Saturday to pick out snacks so I could sit in front of the TV and watch those favorite shows. So it was like a Saturday routine. And I just, that was just what I looked forward to on the weekends. But, as I got older and things, then you fall into a whole nother category. While I might have lost weight or whatever, by that time, I was never skinny because I'm built that way. But you get into a relationship. I got into a relationship where, oh my God, we went out to eat all the time. You're happy, you're going out to eat, you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning, munching, eating breakfast, laying down on all this food, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning runs to Jack in the Box, all these things. And who knew? I knew better, but I was still in a happy situation. Now I'm different. When I'm upset or I'm mad or whatever, I don't tend to eat. I just really can't even stomach food at that time. But let me be happy, child. Let's get all the foods and the drinks and all this kind of business. It's a whole nother thing. So, my question to you guys, not to you guys, you ladies, I'm sorry. My question to you all is, how many, I mean, I want to see if y'all are like me, how many times or how many diets or what diets did you try? Because honey, I didn't try it, I didn't try them all almost. So Maureen, which diets have you tried? And look, tried and failed. We're just gonna be honest.
I've never really done a diet, and I'll be honest about that because I have commitment issues. I typically will start out on something and then I end up quitting, so I don't really do a diet. The one thing that I will say I tried and I had somewhat success was the low carb, high protein. So I would say, if anything, that was kind of like my diet of choice. But again, it wasn't really rigorous. It didn't say like you couldn't eat this portion or you couldn't eat that. So it wasn't like keto or Atkins. Those diets are very strict and you can't eat certain carbohydrates. But for me, it was just I wanted to consume a particular amount of carbohydrates and I needed to exceed that with protein through my day to day.
What about you, Kaya?
No diets. Like, I'm not even going front. Whatever I seen, whenever I seen popping from a celebrity or something, I think I was doing the cabbage diet because Beyonce was doing it. I was doing the Hollywood diet when you had to drink like that nasty stuff for like 48 hours. I didn't try that. Oh man, it is whatever I found like a quick. It always seemed like it was like a quick thing, but it never worked because I wasn't committed to it. And it what works for someone, whatever they may lie about on these quick diets, may not work for everybody else. So I definitely did my share of that. And I tried to, proportionalize eating. And when your heart or your mind isn't ready to do it, you're not going to give it 100%. So that's why I believe like everything that I've done in the past always failed.
Right. I agree totally. What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, I feel like the same as Kaya mentioned. I feel like I've tried like everything. And it's not that the diets weren't successful. I've lost and gained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Like I can lose weight. I can be on the strictest of diets for long periods of time. It's the staying with it and the keeping the weight off part that I have really not been successful with. And that's because almost all of the diets are not something that you can live with, that you can do full time, especially when you talk about the fact that we are in a society and a culture that has all of this processed, ready, accessible food. We use it to celebrate with, in all of our traditions and, gatherings and moments in life. And so for me, that's just been really, really hard. And so it's getting to that part where you start to really make the small changes, which is what I've, with you guys, I've been working on right now, is some of the smaller changes and some big changes, but getting to the lifestyle part is the piece that it's really been missing for me. And I finally have made that aha that, okay, there has to be a pretty fundamental shift in your lifestyle in order for this to be successful. And so I've tried every diet. I lose weight. I do not keep it off. That's the problem. Yeah.
Right. And I totally understand that because, honey, I did Weight Watchers so many times, honey. That's probably why they changed the name to WW. I mean, it's just I lost weight, I'd lose 20 pounds or whatever. And I don't know about y'all, but if I lost 20 pounds, then I'm thinking I'm doing something. I'm like, ooh, I done lost 20 pounds, child. Less. I look fabulous. Then you can have that meat you really know you shouldn't be eating. And then that leads to, having some more of that meal that you shouldn't be eating. I mean, I've tried everything. I tried I even tried the shakes where you drink shakes, and then you eat a meal. I've tried it all. The cookie diet, the egg diet, the put your hands in your pockets and grit your teeth diet. I mean, whatever diet it was, I did try it, and I knew that it was not for me. It was not working. I just gave up. Now, the only diet I didn't go to was, and y'all know I love her, but baby, I couldn't give up meat, dairy, sugar, the child just didn't eat. So I was like, something has to give for me. And for me, going through everything that I went through, I mean, my highest weight was 464 pounds. So, I was, devastated by that news. So, I mean, I knew that I had to take the next step. And the next step for me, of course, was weight loss surgery. And, that has definitely been successful. I lost over 200 plus pounds. And, the journey continues, honey, on that. But just think that for me, it had to be personal choice because at this point in time, by the time I got to that, I was just existing. I tell people all the time I was breathing, but I wasn't living. So weight loss surgery for me was my option out. And I know Kaya, what about you? How did you feel? What point were you at when you decided to have weight loss surgery?
The point I was at was when I couldn't even walk up the flight of steps in my house without being completely out of breath. Or I would like really go to bed at night scared because of my breathing. Like I'm like out of breath. Why am I out of breath from walking a few steps? Like I was really, really unhealthy. I couldn't keep up with my kids just on a trip to the playground. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me, for my kids, because I'm like, I'm only what? Like I'm only 31. I'm sorry, I get confused about my age a lot. I'm only 31. So why am I like, I should be really healthy at this age is what I felt. And I was scared. Like it was definitely like, cause I'm very fearful of hospitals and going in any type of surgery. Like it's a scary thing. I don't want to get it done unless it's medically necessary. And it definitely was medically necessary. I was borderline diabetic. I had high blood pressure. Like it was a lot wrong. And I was just like, I'm not ready to leave this earth right now. So I need to really evaluate what I need to do for myself. And that was like the next step. It was a lot of information that I wanted to take in, a lot of appointments I wanted to have with these surgeons and these doctors, because I just wasn't going to say yes. Like I need to know everything, because people go in the hospital and people don't come out, and it could be the minor thing. It could be a minor thing. And this was like, okay, I'm going to have anesthesia. Y'all going to cut me. Like, okay, I need to know all I need to know about this. But like I always say, it really was the best decision I ever made. And I would make it 10 times over.
Oh my God. I know. I so agree. It was the best decision I ever made. Now, Doreen, I know that you've started just a healthy eating plan. And of course, like anything, it'll change. What kind of changes have you started making with yours? And how did you just kind of come up with that plan that you're on?
Well, originally,
if it's a plan, let me not be
Well, I'll take a step back. Originally, when I was diagnosed in 2000, and I want to say maybe 14, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And so for me, diabetes in my household was like a death sentence. And to a lot of people in the African community, because we automatically think about all the things that are attributed with diabetes. And with me, I had a mother who was on the dialysis machines. So I immediately like just broke down, and I knew I had to change. And so that's when I lost my first initial 100 pounds. And so what that looked like is, like I said earlier, I did the low carb, high protein. My aunt had did a lot of the yo-yo diet. So that's why I didn't do any of those, because I noticed it was not working for her. She would lose the weight, but it was never a lifestyle. And so I lost literally 100 pounds working out, eating correctly, but it was hard work. And so when I got back into my regular routine and I went to grad school, I slowly but surely gained that weight back. And so now, after life's transition, I am back at that point now, thanks to your help, where I am back on my low carb, and I'm actually dabbling with veganism. I haven't fully committed, but I've definitely seen a substantial change in like my skin, my body, just my mind in removing dairy. and removing a lot of meat from my diet. So that's really where my ultimate journey is to be fully committed to that lifestyle. But like I said, right now I'm still getting comfortable with it, and I don't want anyone to have me attached to being a vegan, because I want that flexibility that if I desire to have something, I have that option available. But I will say, so far, I'm extremely impressed with the way my body has reacted to taking away meat and taking away dairy.
Right, right. Now, what about you, Shannon? What I know, of course, you are very active as well in the Healthy You group. So, what have you found to be different, kind of, with your plan?
Well, first of all, the account of having other people doing this with you, I always find to make, it much more easy to be successful. Having people to lean on and talk about ideas with, and just having the support has always been something I need to be on something for success. In
Mhm.
terms of the food, because what I know, I'm an active person. I actually work out pretty consistently on a regular basis. No matter how heavy I've been, I love being active, which is sometimes a pretty big misconception and misnomer for folks who are overweight. It's funny how many times I've been in the gym and people come up to me like, "Oh my God, you're you're so amazing," and I'm just like, like I'm doing my normal workout. What's happening? Um, it's really, you're an inspiration, and you're just sort of like, okay. But the food, it's the food. So with the food pieces, what I've been working on right now, I've learned some things along the way of those diets. One thing I've learned in my trials and tribulations with the diets is that I've picked up some really bad psychological habits from them. Like, for example, not picking up a piece of fruit, instead picking up something junk oriented, because I'm like, oh, those points, or oh, those calories, if I'm going to have to eat something, I don't want to put that, in my body, which is the wrong mentality. So I'm working on sort of fixing that. The other thing is just carbohydrates. I did Whole 30. I've done actually several rounds of Whole 30. It's very strict. From a diet standpoint, it's not really meant to be a diet. It's more of meant to just sort of cleanse and to get foods out of your body. What I love about that is they talk about inflammatories. And so, from a diabetes standpoint, this is really important, right? Which is, there are so many foods that cause inflammation and cause you to not process, and to, like, your engine not to run successfully. And so, what I've learned is that when I take the inflammatories out, so grains, gluten, dairy, soy, when I take all of that out of my body, and I only eat more closer to whole foods, even though I'm eating meats and things, my engine runs so much better, and the weight just starts to like fall off of me. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to really get much more in tune with what I can eat, and my body says, yes, I feel good when you do that. And then what, when I do consume something and it's like, nope, you want to sleep, or my digestive system is like, oh, nope. To be like, okay, that is not something I need to be eating on a regular basis. So that's where I'm
Right.
at, and I'm trying to like take the learnings actually from all of those failed diets, and there's some good stuff in almost all of them, and try to take the good things and then really work on taking the things that weren't so helpful out of my brain. That's
Right.
where I'm at right
I
now.
mean,
Yeah.
and I tell you, why are carbs so good, y'all? Oh my God. I mean, why, they're just, but I can tell you that now I have noticed that this is something new for me. I've never had this experience before, but lately, if I eat a carb, I feel like I'm just about to pass out. I mean, I just sit here, and the next thing you know, I'm like, I just start feeling sleepy. Like I just cannot keep my eyes open. And I kept wondering, like, what is going on with me? Because I could have been up doing everything, this, that, and the other. But the minute I eat a carb, it's like I'm just dead weight. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, you know what? I just start thinking, well, my body's saying, dummy, stop eating the carbs. Because the last thing we want to do is eat all the carbs and then lay down and go to sleep. That's how we got overweight in the first place. So I was just like, okay, well, this week for the group, we have got to give up one carb. Well, I just need to give them all up. Apparently, I could just be falling asleep in mid conversation. But I think that, we just have to. I mean, there are good carbs. Don't get me wrong. There are good carbs, good fats. But I just think that, carbs are the devil for me. And I just have to let it go. So the thing I want people to know about weight loss surgery, because I kind of want to cover this really quick, is that I never told anyone I was having weight loss surgery. I could count on this hand how many people knew, and those were my immediate family members. But the reason I did not was because I didn't want to hear the words, which I ended up still hearing anyway. Well, you don't need to do that. You can lose weight on your own. Well, all you got to do is work out and go to the gym. All you got to do is, just watch what you eat in smaller portions. All of these, what you need to do, where were you when I was eating that ding dong? Well, weren't you the same person going out to eat with me when we were going to Olive Garden, Pizza Hut, Jack in the Box, this, that, and the other? I mean, so for someone to come back and tell you all of that, once you say you're having weight loss surgery, it's like, okay, thanks. So I want people to know that if you have gotten to the point where you feel like this is the only thing that's going to work for you, it's up to you if you want to share that information, but be forewarned that you will hear all of this right here. And for my peace of mind, and so I wouldn't hurt anybody, I just kept it to myself. But I still heard it after that. I mean, you didn't have to do that. That's just so extreme. That's just too much. Oh my God. What happened? What did they do? How big is your stomach? Oh, you can't eat that much. Oh, then you get judged for not eating enough. Then you get judged, you can't go out because you got to be picky about, girl, I saved a lot of money, stop eating out. So Kaya, what did you do?
Say that last question again. It went out. You said, what did I what?
What did you hear once you decided to have? Did you share that you were going to have weight loss surgery?
I would say it was literally like a handful, like you, like maybe I can count. It was like my mom, my husband, of course, they knew. My kids knew because I had to prepare like them, like if I come home, I'm not gonna be able to move around and stuff like that. And maybe like a few relatives. And for the most part, I did get a lot of like positive feedback, but it was just like a few that was just like, you don't need to do that. You just need to, you need to stop eating out. You need to exercise more. You need to this. And I'm like, okay, I know that I need to do that. And it's not like this was a cosmetic thing. And that's what, when you get the bariatric, surgery, that's what they tell you. If you come in here and that's the first thing you talking about, like, oh, I'm ready to look skinny. They're not going to do it. This is a lifestyle change, and it's a lot of steps that go into it. Like you have to get a psychological screening. You have to get all of these things because it's not like liposuction. Like they just not going to take it and you're going to look like Nicki Minaj or something like that. Like this is a health thing that's supposed to last you forever. It's supposed to change your ways of eating, and them shrinking my stomach isn't it. Because trust me, I tested it. I ate a fried buffalo wing when I wasn't supposed to, when I was on the liquid diet. I was eating chips. Like it was because that was my mindset. That's what I was so used to doing. And like my body literally had to tell me like, girl, you can't eat that. So if you're not going to my body, like if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to make you throw up. Or I'm going to make you sick. Like, cause now you done made this big change and now you gotta use it and you gotta hold on to it. So you have to make these changes. And I'm telling you, your mind and your body is freaking different. Like your stomach will tell you one thing and your mind is so used to eating unhealthy that even though you don't want it, you will go and try to eat it. And that's just insane. Like how I think, like I was thinking like, wow, that's crazy how my mind was so used to eating this way, and now that I really forced my mind to change, it's working out so much better.
Right. I get it, because now I was too afraid, Kaya, to eat something I didn't have no business eating after surgery, because I was like, I had already heard about people throwing up and not only that from one end to the next in the bathroom. So I didn't want any parts of that. So I stayed good. But I know now that I fried foods and now since I've been on this plan again, fried food and we had to part company because that really does make me nauseous to eat that right now. I just said, okay, well, more fried foods. I think that one of the questions in the comments was, what are some of your bad eating habits that you want to change? And I agree with Doreen. It's just has to be late night snacking because, why are we snacking at nighttime, y'all? Laying down on it. Why are we doing that? That's probably
Bored.
the worst thing that we could do.
Yes,
Yeah,
Doreen,
we
we're
night
bored.
owls
That's
too,
exactly what I was
Rhonda.
thinking.
Yeah, we night
What?
owls. So
Go ahead, Doreen.
I say, we're night owls, so we be up all night. Because literally we texting back and forth or messaging 1 or 2 o'clock at night. So I know that's my thing is I'm a night owl, and by the time I sit down, I'm stationary. So it wouldn't be bad if I was up and moving, but I'm just grabbing little things instead of eating a meal and laying down on.
Well, tell you, that's me. Well, that was me. I try not to eat late anymore. If I do, I eat a protein bar. So, because this protein bar that I eat, I tell you, it's like having candy and, it satisfies all that if you want something sweet or whatever. So I have to turn y'all on
What's the
to it
name of
because
that
it's
protein
really
bar?
good. It's, I use, I
Be
use
selfish,
Built
chef.
Bar.
I need that one too. Please
And
let me know what it is.
well, oh, well, let me, I do have a code in my bio. Go to my milkshake, but I'll definitely show you guys what it is. And it is just like eating candy. So, you get the candy feel or that sweet taste satisfied, and you're getting your protein in too. So if that's one of the last things I eat at night, but Shannon, I don't know, you might not be as bad as us eating and
Oh,
snacking at night, but
so
what's your I don't know, what's your go-to that you shouldn't go to?
yeah,
Something that you shouldn't be eating that you eat.
I'm not. So luckily, I've got a lot of vices, but the snacking at night typically hasn't been too bad for me. But I think that's because of the fact that after I get all my kids down to bed, I'm so tired that I haven't really done a lot of the snacking at night. But so what I've been working on is I have a lot of vices. Like I have a sweet tooth, I have a salty tooth, I have a fat tooth. I like food. I like every kind of food. I have a crispy tooth. I have a soft tooth. I have you name it. I got something that I got in a category, a candy bar tooth. It's just everything. So I have all these things I like. And so I've just over the years allowed myself to indulge in a lot of those things. And so what I've been really working on right now is substitutions. So figuring out like when
Mhm.
I want, a Butterfinger, or if I want something crispy, or if I want whatever it is, like, chips or something else, finding something that can substitute so that I'm not feeling deprived, but at the same time, I'm not eating that thing that's just really, really bad for me. And what's really funny, you mentioned the protein bar. I've been calling them gourmet protein shakes. I've been completely in my kitchen with various 0-calorie flavorings and concoctions and making up like creamsicle protein shakes and Butterfinger protein shakes. And it's so funny because I don't know why mentally right now I'm loving them so much. Like, and it's hitting that spot, and I'm not grabbing for something that's bad, and it's working. So I'm just gonna keep trying that for now and seeing where I can take that and use those substitutions wherever I can.
And I think that's great because you have been putting some really great recipes within the group. And I was like, I started looking around like, do I have these things in my kitchen? Let me go see. But I think that I am gonna try to make a little shake this week, protein shakes. Normally I would have two a day, but I think just drinking those by themselves, um, is beginning to affect me. So I have to mix one with iced coffee. The other one, I'm gonna have to try to make a shake out of it or something, and add some things so that I can get it down, because drinking one straight when I'm in, or two straight shakes, is just beginning to affect me. But I noticed that Courageously Thriving said that her problem is emotional eating. If I'm not busy, I am thinking and I eat. So I don't really emotionally eat. Do you guys suffer from emotional eating?
I definitely do. And like I said, for it doesn't have to be sad. It can be happy. Like, yay, I just, did something great at work. So let's go out to eat. So, and again, for me, that's what it's always been. It's been comfort. I'm from the South, so we call it comfort food for a reason. And so that's just how it is. Every celebration, good, bad, or indifferent, we're having food, we're having some type of drink or something. So that's just the culture that I'm used to. And so it's trying, like you say, reprogram your mind. Like, okay, you did something great, but try a non-food reward. And so that's what I've literally have to think about now is, okay, you did well. What's something that you can do that's not a food reward? Go to the gym. Pay yourself back doing something that's going to reward your body.
I don't see that as a reward.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I do, because I love workout classes. So when the workout classes were going on, I love them.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I love, like, to me, that's absolutely a reward. So and then too, I'm like, it's good for my body. So I need those type of rewards as opposed to me eating.
I love that you bring that up.
I get you. Go ahead, Shannon.
I was just gonna say, because yesterday I posted, because I'm eating, less than I normally do, and so I was like, what do I do with all this time that I've been spending eating? Which I know is sort of sad to say out loud, but like everybody else is still eating the meal and I'm done, and I'm just not going to sit there and look at all the food, and and I'm not needing all that time to prepare and to eat and whatever it may be, and so I was just sort of like, what do I do? Because I have to stop thinking about food. I need to get myself busy, but I was in sort of like this funk of, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do anything. And so it's great because you guys were like, just do something. I was like, message received.
Yes, I was like reading, or reading, or I start coloring, I start reading. I will start a whole chat. Whatever the case may be, I'll FaceTime friends and family or whatever, just so I won't be sitting up there eating.
It was so helpful.
And I used to just go to sleep, but I try not to do that. I try not to take naps if I can help it. But I don't see it. Now, you know what? Maybe things will be, no, I'm not going to even tell that lie, because, I never liked working out. The only time I liked working out was when we had curves. And I loved their circuit training, and it was 30 minutes and I could do everything and get up and get out. So, that was the only time that I really enjoyed, when I was back some years ago, and I lost weight with that. And, it was great. It was fantastic. When the curves closed down, that was the end of my exercise, child. But my knees are just too bad for it. And I'd rather not exercise than to be in the pain that I have to be in afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of out of the question until I get some replacements, honey. But when I get them replacements, child, y'all watch out. But what is the COVID? I know we all have gained weight during the COVID. Talk to me about the COVID. The COVID got me.
Well, I said I like the gym, and believe it or not, I work at a gym part-time. And I worked at 2 gyms. So that's one thing that I do miss, is normally when I would work my evening shifts, I would go and work out, but I'm just too afraid of being in that confined space. So I know that's one thing that I definitely miss, is just getting that movement in. And right now I'm working at home. So it's definitely like no movement. It's like, once I'm here, child. I'm not moving until I clock out. That has significantly decreased my mobility and just any type of movement. Now, what I will say I think has saved me slightly is reselling, because I will go and shop for hours, getting inventory and sourcing. So I think that's one thing that has helped. But other than that, I'm pretty stationary once I start working.
Right, right. And see, I think that the Rona child, she just came in, and then I think it had all of us kind of bedazzled that we were on lockdown. We couldn't go anywhere. So what else we gonna? Well, it's time to watch some movie. You got to have some popcorn. You got to snack. You're cooking up a sport. You don't know what else to do. For me, well, I was, before I moved, everyone in the house, we were just trying to stay busy, playing games, doing all this, whatever we could do to occupy ourselves so we wouldn't eat up every day. But it was harder for me because my upstairs. So I kept a snack box. Y'all, I had some of that little snack box. But that just kept me from going downstairs all the time. I had some good snacks and some really bad snacks. Yes, I did. I'll admit it. But, that's where those extra 10 pounds came from. So now thankfully, I've lost 10 pounds, since I started the group. So that's a good thing. But I'll tell you that movement is definitely key, I think. I think that even now that I've moved, I'm in my own place, I always have something to do, whether it's cleaning, whether it's whatever, just kind of back and forth all the time. Especially now, since I've have some new inventory, so I'm sourcing, I'm taking pictures, I'm moving, I'm doing everything. And I just try to remind myself now, especially, I don't need too much reminder because I'm drinking a lot of water. So, you're up and down, up. So at least every 30 minutes, moving my body to the bathroom. I think that it's important to have some type of movement throughout the day. And I know it's harder when you're at home and you're working and you don't get to, maybe get up and down as much. But I tell you, I have to have something. Because if you are on, say, for instance, on TikTok, you get sucked into the videos. I can get sucked into spending so much time on Instagram, engaging. Next thing you know, it's an hour, 2 hours later, I have been in the same spot. So I think that we all have to regulate, our time and watch our time, get up and get to moving. And for our own sake, really, not just so we can we just don't want to get stuck in that moment of just sitting. We want to be able to get up, move around, go to the kitchen. We're going to making healthy selections in the kitchen. Have you noticed that you are shopping differently? Are there certain things that you can't keep in your home right now? Because for me, it's ice cream because I crave it so much right now, but I can't keep it in my house. Kaya, what are you doing? Because you come up with some good. I need to know your shopping list.
So every Saturday I Pinterest. That's what I do, y'all. Like, there's no special secret. It is Pinterest. A simple, healthy meal prep meals is what I Pinterest, and I'll see everything. And then whatever just really like attracts my eye, I'm just like, oh, I'll make that this week. And I go shopping on Sunday and, get all of that. But what has really been a big difference in me when I used to go shopping, I just bought stuff, didn't care about looking at the back of the box, didn't care about looking at the ingredients, the calories, saturated fat, sodium, all of that stuff. I didn't really care about looking like that because I just was like, oh, we eat that. I'll get that. I'll get that. But now, like, since the surgery and everything, I really probably spend a good hour or two in the market because I read everything. Like, I will look at the back of the box and I will get the healthier option, or I will use my phone and I will Google, or I'll ask my cousin who's like a big nutrition coach, like, hey, is this good? Like, what does this mean? I want to educate myself more about what I'm putting in my body, because I just don't want to go ahead and get all of this. And I'm looking at certain soy milks and like, okay, why does that say 37% saturated fat and this one says 9? What's the difference? So I want to know everything that I'm eating and I'm drinking. So I really think like that's a big deal. If you don't already, I would say just try to read about, you know, the different ingredients that's in these foods, because you'd be surprised at what's in certain stuff.
You would. I mean, salt is in everything. Child salt is in Oreos, you know, and but Oreos are supposed to be vegan. You know, I just found that out, so I thought that was an excuse for me some Oreos. But I think that you have to be careful and mindful of those things that you know, take in. And for me, I normally eat the back everything, but I pay really close attention to sodium and serving size, because while I love to have some let's just say some tortilla chips. Well, if that bad, I can have 17 tortilla chips and get this amount. This is my calorie intake, and it fits into my day. Then you know, 15 of those, or I might have less. But I really, this is what allowed me to lose 70 pounds before weight loss surgery, is that serving sizes are on packages for a reason. So I try to pay attention to those serving size. Now I know it's tedious work, but you know what? If that's what we're supposed to be having, that's what we should be having. You know, I'm not a real, I don't do it as much now, but I eat, I monitor what I eat as far as how the size, maybe a cup of this, you know, half a cup of this. And I also eat on a smaller plate. Now you can't have your food falling all off a smaller plate. So you have no option but to have smaller portions. And I think a couple of things that, you know, work for me is just those things, right? Something simple right there. I mean, Doreen, have you found that something in particular that just really kind of helps you narrow down your portion?
Unfortunately, I don't really have a problem with my portions because the diabetic medicine that I'm on, it naturally decreases my appetite. So I eat like a bird.
Okay.
I eat so many times a day. And so that's really my problem, is the frequency or the lack thereof. So I go between either I'm eating too much or I'm not eating enough so that my metabolism stays active. But what I do try to do is, how you talked about carbohydrates, I'm really particular about eating carbohydrates that are going to fill me up and that are also going to fuel me up. So if I'm wanting like a potato or something like that, I will go with a sweet potato over a white potato. And that's because one is going to give me some energy. I'm not going to feel sluggish. And then I still feel satisfied. So that's what I'm really learning to do is, like you say, look at what you're eating and kind of figure out what is a better alternative. And the same thing with pasta and stuff like that. So finding a more healthier alternative and then monitoring my portions on that.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Shannon? What do you find?
No, it's just very much the same. And so I was talking about substitutions earlier. So, and I call it trigger foods. So for me, like I can't eat the corn chips because then I want 47 trays of the corn chips. So I've learned, I'm not joking. So I've learned, nope,
Not
that is
47.
not, no, okay, maybe 2 or 3 though, which is a lot of corn chips. So what I've learned is just don't eat the corn chips. Like if I go to like a Mexican food restaurant, like my favorite here, they actually will slice up radishes and I can have like radishes and guacamole. When I'm at home though, and if I like, for example, if we're going to get takeout and I've done I'll do like a salad. And I love Trader Joe's. So I have these Trader Joe's plantain chips that I eat. And I can eat a serving and it's enough and I'm happy. So I'm really trying to learn back to that, what foods do I abuse and I can't control? And then what foods can I eat and then be, able to do in a healthful way and feel good about and feel good with afterwards. And so that's what I've been working on. So it's very similar to what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. So what food has become like your favorite go-to food, like while you're on this plane, while we're on all these different plans that we're doing, what food has become the food that, like, oh my God, this is the best thing, or this is your go-to food right now, Kaya?
It would probably be what I'm snacking on right now while we're doing this live.
I noticed that you were eating. I wasn't going to call you out.
Yeah. It's dried fruit.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
crazy on dried fruit. Like I will eat dried fruit like as a meal, and apricots seem to be my favorite. So like when I was able to start eating in after I got surgery, because you got to go through like the whole process, but during the weeks I was able to finally start eating food. This was like the first thing I was introduced to, and it's just been the same thing. Like when I'm ready to eat something and I look at my kid's snack cabinet at chips, like Shannon, I'm ready to eat 47 trays. I'd be like, nope, I'm gonna look at my own cabinet and get my apricots. I'm going to snack on that and think it's a nacho cheese Dorito. Like, I don't care. Like, I had to force myself to make that decision. Otherwise, I would go ahead and eat them Doritos. I really would. But dried fruit is good. And the portion size is great. It's 1/4 cup. That's enough for me.
Oh, I need to get some dried fruit then. What about you, Doreen?
I am actually a vegetable junkie. I really don't eat fruit. So between Brussels sprouts, squash and zucchini, like those are my top two. I could literally eat them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So those are the things that I really like just crush on right now.
Well, that's great. And Shannon, what's your favorite?
So I'm going to sound like a total dork right now, but I'm really loving my little shake concoctions at the moment. I'm Pinteresting, right? And finding like, hey, what are some of my favorite, like lemon meringue pie? How can I turn a protein shake into something that makes me feel like I'm sort of, being in that category of lemon meringue pie, and then making it. And then I'm just so excited. So now when I'm looking forward to the experience of having my protein shakes versus going, oh my God, if I have to drink one more of these damn protein shakes, I'm going to just go out of my mind. So I've switched my mental process in the protein shake space. I don't think it's going to last forever, but for right now, it's definitely appeasing me. So I'm happy about that.
Right. I get you. Well, right now, well, not even now, I've gotten hooked on the Too Good yogurt. And I can't eat a lot of yogurt because I can't take that aftertaste or that bite that some of them have. So for me, it's the Too Good yogurt. Pretty much any flavor they have. Right now, I'm hooked on the coconut, and I'm thinking about maybe trying one of Shannon's little concoctions or get a recipe where I could use that shake and some fruit and all that good stuff. Maybe I'll just throw all that in the blender and see what I come up with.
Look, we need a book, Shannon.
That's true.
We need a book.
I'm really actually thinking about doing
yes.
it. I've been writing them all down, so we'll experiment together as a group, and I'll figure out what to put in it. And then what's great, because right now I'm trying to make them no added calories, just because I'm in that wanting to lose phase. But then as you do start to figure out putting yogurts in and other flax seeds and things to add the nutrients that your body needs, it's very cool.
Right. So, my last question, I guess, would be, what type of advice would you give to someone who's wanting to change their relationship with food? What would you tell them, or to start? I mean, what would you have wanted to hear, Kaya?
I think I would, if someone would have just said, like, even when I was doing like all the fad diets and stuff and it wasn't working, just do it when you're ready. Like, being plus size, I had the low self-esteem, the feel of judgment, when I went out to eat, or people looking at me, or going into stores and you can't find your size. It was like, it was a thing of like, oh, everybody is watching me, and so I felt like, all right, I got to lose weight. Or, if I felt unattractive to my spouse, I didn't want to, it was hard to feel like that. So, but I tried those things and it didn't work because I guess I just wasn't ready. But when I finally made the decision and I was ready and willing to put in the effort at a time, that's when it all started to come together. So don't feel like you had to change yourself for somebody else or for society. Like you had to do it when you're ready, because that's the only time it's going to work.
Exactly. I totally agree. What about you, Doreen?
I would say start with your mental. Because to me, that's the beginning of all of this. You can change your exterior, but if inside you're still not feeling and understanding your worth, I think that is an even bigger struggle. So for me, it was really getting my head wrapped around the importance of healthy eating, not just thinking about, oh, I want to be smaller or I want to lose weight, but understanding why that's so important. And then I began to really have a love for working out and having a love for nutrition and things like that. So for me, it's really just working on your mental, understanding why you're doing this. And like Kaya said, don't necessarily look to do it for anybody else outside of yourself.
I totally agree with that. I mean, that is key right there. Is weight loss alone is hard. You know, we gain it quickly, but we lose it slowly. And when you're older, you lose it a little bit slower. But we definitely have to, it definitely can affect our mental, because if we'll get upset if we haven't lost the weight we think we should have lost. We get upset if we're on the scale all the time, where you should never become a slave to the scale. You know, it can just take us in all type of a poster mentality with weight loss. So we kind of got to try to keep ourselves centered, and that's why it's so great to have like-minded people to talk to. What do you have to say, Shannon?
I don't know. I feel like Doreen and Kai are spot on. It's that do it for you and then address the mental elements that are going to go along with it, right? Because at least from my vantage point, there's been so much shame for me having had so much weight on my body from even a very young age, and people their ideas and judgment of me and who I am as a person, even though they don't necessarily know me. They're only judging what they can see, and that affected a lot. I would hide, my choices. I would, listen to their criticisms, their ideas of what I should or shouldn't be doing. And then sometimes even sabotaging myself. So, well, they don't think I can do it. So can I really? I've never been successful. Sometimes, unfortunately, what others do and say really can affect you in your life if you allow them that power in your life. And so when you start to realize that it's your choice, you either going to give them that power or you're going to take it back for yourself. And so now I'm starting to really get into my power, right? Understand, not give it to other people. There's too much that is outside of my control as it is. I don't need to be giving away stuff that I don't need to. And so doing things for me, and then doing that with the, that mental element of making sure that I'm, making something good for myself. I think, that's the advice, is do the things for you. Don't listen to what everybody else has to say, and take care of yourself in that process. Whether or not you got that 10 extra pounds or 100 extra pounds or whatever, just start slow and figure out how to make yourself feel better in the process.
Oh, I so agree. I think that, this is where I always tell people that you have to choose yourself. At some point in your life or our lives, we have to choose ourselves. Not being selfish, but how can you give back or to someone else if you're running on E? You can't. If you're not feeling good about yourself, if you're not happy, if you're just in this state of mind that oh, I'm just here, oh, I can't do it, people think I can't, people are judging me, you're too big, you're too this, you can't do all these things, and it wears on your brain cells. And I have heard it all. I have heard it all up until the time that I just wasn't able to get up and get out and about. But, for me, I think that it shook my confidence, because I was just always a confident person. I felt like if somebody didn't want to date me, I'm like, honey, that's your loss, baby. I just moved on with it. But being when I was in, my relationship or whatever, it just got to be where I was just like, this cannot be my life. This cannot. So I think that, at that point in time when I felt that way, I think that everything was closing in on me at that point. And I just, I just went into this deep, dark place. But the only thing, I might not have gone into that place or that space if I had had someone to talk to about it. And that's why I think that communicating with someone, communicating with like-minded people, being able to share when you're having a bad day, if you ate that Snicker, if you just fell off completely, you have to, encourage you to get back on track. I mean, and that just comes back around to the group that we have, because that's where you get your encouragement from. That's where you can come and share recipes, Shannon's awesome shakes that I want all the recipes too. Or you can come there. It's just a safe place for you to come to and know that you're not going to be judged for whatever you happen to eat that day. That we have to take care of our mentality. We have to be in the right space. And even if you have to seek outside help for that, that's okay too, because with one or having a counselor, coach, or whatever is going to fit in to help you get to the place that you be at. And that's for any and everything, not just weight loss. We have to protect our brain. We have to protect our self, self-care, self-love, all of it. I'm all about it all. So I really appreciate everyone for coming. I mean, I really want to do a part 2 on this later on down the line and see where our progress has taken us. And I wish everyone great success with everything, no matter how you're doing it, no matter how you're achieving it. I just think that everyone is doing a job. And for those who are not in a healthy you group, all you have to do is DM me excuse me, y'all, I can't talk. DM me at the Pink Diva Studio, and I'm happy to add you to the group. Thank everyone in the comments for commenting, taking time out of your day to come and see and talk to us. I appreciate it so much. And ladies, if you hang around after this, we'll go ahead and chit chat a little bit. But thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Kaya. I love you guys. Thanks for joining us.